So welcome to my class. This is a new class. Have you noticed the schedule? I put a whole new title to this class, 9 Ways to Say I'm Sorry. Obviously, it's part of the Emotional Vampire series, the book coming out very soon. And the reason why I want to talk about this, because when I read the Torah portion, it doesn't really get into we see sometimes when Moshe begs to God on Mount Sinai, please don't, God's like, I'm going to destroy the people, especially after the golden calf. And God says, please don't do it. Don't do it. And then God, forgives the Jewish people. But we don't see a lot in the relationships between Yaakov and all of them, Abraham and Sarah, Yaakov and Rivka and Rachel and Leah. We don't see a lot about apologies. We don't see a lot, even with the two brothers, the twins. We don't see a lot like, I'm sorry. Even when the Jews when the brothers come down to Egypt and they go in front of Joseph and they don't recognize him. And they try to sell him, if you don't know the story, they try to first, I think, kill him. They try to kill him and they throw him into a pit with snakes and scorpions, and they sold him to slavery. And then they sold him to slavery, and he ends up, not seen for 20 years. And they don't recognize him, and he says, I am Joseph. Is my father still alive? And what's the next line that you would think would be out of his mouth? Be like, you guys suck, you guys sold me to slavery, you tried to kill me, I'm gonna put you in jail, I'm gonna make you slaves, right? I'm gonna kill you, whatever it was. What did he say? He didn't say, I forgive you, which is there's a whole sugya in the idea that really he didn't get forgiveness. He didn't give it's called mechila, but he does say, it's not your fault. So it's not full forgiveness. And we're gonna get into forgiveness. Rambam talks about 3 different ways of forgiveness, but we're first gonna talk about how to say I'm sorry. And it's so important because, as you know, in my relationship classes, I talk about one of the dangerous parts about relationships is when someone who's an empathic personality. What's an empathic personality? Someone who likes to give, someone who's available emotionally, obviously physically, but obviously emotionally, and they can open up and they can share their feelings and they're allowed other people to share their feelings to them. By the way, when we talk about keepers in my class, the whole acronym of KEPER, you want to get rid of the 2 E's, which is envy and ego. But you want people in your life who are the last 4 letters, KPER, kind, peaceful, empathetic, and respectful. And an empathetic personality, a person who's empathetic is there for you. A person who's empathetic can listen to your feelings, they can listen to your problems, they take it in. Now, they might not really feel it, they might not really feel sad when something happens bad to you, but at least they pretend to it at a minimum. And when you're a woman who's more likely going to be more empathetic than a guy, the general rule of thumb, is that because we want to give, you're givers. Empathetic people love to give. Just like our family, my wife and I are empathetic people. We love to give other people. Of course, we have to put barriers up sometimes because we know that people suck us of our energy and drain us. They're emotional vampires. We have emotional vampires in our life, and we all do. But the problem is that you have someone who's a narcissist or someone who has narcissist tendencies, or full NPD, whatever it is, and they're an empathetic person is like shark bait to a shark. They put their claws in them, they love bomb them, right? Next thing you know, you're not in a relationship, you're in a manipulationship. And this is the problem, because what do narcissists have a hard time saying? And these are very important words to say in a relationship. Very important. They are, I'm sorry. And we're going to learn today 9 different ways to say I'm sorry. That's the goal of this class today. You have a hard time saying, I forgive you, or I was wrong. Thank God we have, I don't know if thank God or not. I mean, like President Trump, who is the typical narcissist. I mean, thank God he's been great for Israel, but like he's never said I was wrong. He's never said I'm sorry. That he can't do it. It's not possible. It's not in his DNA to do that. It's hard to say, for some people, it's hard to say I love you. And I said, sometimes saying I love you is not the most important thing to say in a relationship. Right? You can have your husband say I love you every single day, but if he doesn't appreciate you, right, doesn't show you attention, what does that mean I love you? Just like in parenting, we're doing this parenting class on Wednesday, Raising Superstars. You can say I love you to a 15-year-old boy. It doesn't mean anything to him. What does it mean I love you, a 15-year-old? What does it mean I love? What does love mean? Right? I mentioned to you before, like I've been on a number of podcasts recently. I'm doing 2 tomorrow. And with these PhDs in psychology and these people, older women, like you expect them to know stuff and they can't define love, right? Of course, they're all divorced. It's crazy. Like the podcasts I'm getting on are all divorced women or PhDs in psychology. And I think what happens when you go through a rough time, you get a PhD in psychology. You have to focus. You've been probably in a manipulationship. They've probably been, I'm not blaming the guys for this, but I am blaming the guys for this. They've probably been emotionally abused and need to put their life somewhere they can grow and at least have something to base their life on. It's very difficult. Divorce is one of the worst things to go through in life. I'm telling you. So they want to say it's like death. And this is why I teach classes on dating and marriage. Because what's the most important decision you're making in your life? Who you're going to marry. Yet you're going to spend more time getting a driver's license. You're going to spend more time commuting to work or to walk than you are to. Sorry, I'm making fun of you. Than you are to learn what it means to be in a passionate relationship. You have no idea what you're doing, and this is why most relationships fail. And when I mean fail, I don't mean divorce. I mean you can be in a relationship for 50 years and you can die married and you were not successful. Because that's what my passion. I want to build loving relationships. So we're going to get into the ideas. So I said some of the hardest words to say in the English language are I'm sorry, I forgive you, I was wrong, I love you. And the last word is Worcestershire sauce. Why is that hard to say? It's just hard to say. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Does anyone know Worcestershire sauce? How do you say it, Rabbi? I might have added a syllable. It's not easy. The first three are required for healthy relationships. The fourth is needed for a romantic partner. And the last is needed for a great ribeye steak. So, admitting you're wrong can seem like a simple thing, but if you're not an empathetic person, it can be difficult. Of course, narcissists never admit that they're wrong. And there's times when apologies are what we need to hear in a relationship. Becky Kennedy, I saw this online, she did a TED Talk, American clinical psychologist, said, and she has a New York Times bestseller called Good Inside. She discusses that when we are emotionally hurt, we emotionally hurt someone, we've caused a fracture in the relationship. And it needs repairing. And by the way, the apology doesn't mean it's repaired. And we're going to go through why saying I'm sorry doesn't mean it's what's repaired. We fracture, we repair. We fracture, we repair. And the problem is, sometimes an apology is a way to shut down the conversation. Like saying, hey, I'm sorry I yelled. Can we move on now? Whereas a repair is going back to the point of disconnection, taking responsibility for your behavior, and acknowledging the impact it had on somebody else. And it's very hard. We did not see Yosef Hatzadik go to his brothers and go back to the actual fracture that had happened when they sold him to slavery. We don't hear about that story. Why'd you guys do that? Why'd you guys? I know our father played a favor for me. I know that. But why'd you have to sell me to slavery? What did I do? It's funny. We have 3 parshas in a row about Yaakov. Vayetze, he went. Vayishlach, he sent. Vayeshev, he settled. He went, he sent, and he settled. And by the way, for some of you guys who are like, in Israel for the first time learning, this is your journey. You grew up in a house, wherever it was, in New York, or Brooklyn, or California, or Miami, and you thought it was good for you to be there because you were comfortable and familiar. But you had to get out of an environment to come to a place like Asia Torah, or come from Tel Aviv, right? You come to a place where you don't have your social circle around you, right? You're closer to the kotel because this is where actually heaven and earth meet. This is why when people come here, they say, oh, it feels really spiritual. Do you know why? Because this is the meeting point of God and the physical and the spiritual. This is the meeting point. This is why it does form the whole here. And this is also why people come here, they're more opened up to learning. And when you get out of that, you have to leave your place, and you come here, and then you say, you know what? I'm not staying for one class. I know there's a woman who came here. Literally, I say off the boat. She was from Tampa. She's in the A7. She's great. And she'd never been to a Shabbat dinner before. She'd been with Alami Soul in Tampa. And she had a chance to come for a few weeks because of a job in school. And she came, and the first Shabbat dinner, she comes to my house, which that means good or bad. I don't know, because we have a pretty good Shabbat. She might be disappointed in other places she goes. Anyway, my point is, she ended up extending a week. When you come for a week, you stay for a month. Next thing you know, you stay for a year. Next thing you know, you're a rabbi after 5 years. And 8 kids living in Mea Shearim. That's what happened. That doesn't have everybody. No, it doesn't have everybody. And sometimes you come here, you went, and you're here like, Mom, can you send me some clothes? Mom, can you send me some money? Mom, can you and Dad come visit on a holiday? Because I'm going to see you, and I decided to stay here for another year, but I want to see you. So you're sending for your parents, you're sending for money, and then it's only then when you can settle. It's only then when you have clarity in your life. I mean, clarity about everything, not clarity. I mean, clarity about relationships, clarity about God. Because you have to have one of the two questions you have to ask yourself when you come, especially in my class. 2 questions. Number 1, is there a God or there's not a God? Is there a God or there is not a God? Those are your 2 choices in life, right? Which means everything's random or everything's not random. If there's no God, you're a random creation. And if there's a God, you were created for a purpose. And you have to answer that question with clarity. And it takes time. The second question you have to ask, did God give us the Torah? Because if you fast on Yom Kippur and you do not think that God gave you the Torah, you're an idiot. Because that means you're following the rules of some man, woman, or group of men or women. If I'm going to do that, I'm going to pick Scientology. I can hang out with Tom Cruise. Right? I'm going to pick my own religion at that point in time. So sometimes an apology is just a way to shut down the conversation. A repair goes back to the point of disconnection, taking responsibility for your behavior, acknowledging the impact it had on someone else. Imagine a water pipe with a fracture in it. Some water may trickle down to the very end, to the tap, to the faucet, but most of that water is going to seep into the ground and be wasted. The same can be for a relationship. If you do not repair the relationship, you might have a relationship, but it's not going to be very good. The water won't be flowing out of the relationship. And by the way, I always say this, you're only as happy as your worst relationship. Get good at repairing relationships. And again, you want to throw the apology in, but it's always about repairing relationships. It's a two-step process. First, you rupture, and you repair. When someone ruptures a relationship, the guilty person is now a different person in the eyes of the one that got hurt. They now look at them as a scary friend, sibling, parent. They can also be a scary mom or dad. The hurt person is going to a state of distress, and they have to find a way to feel safe and secure. And if the perpetrator does not repair this, who are they going to blame? Who do children blame when their parents are dysfunctional and abuse them? They blame themselves. They still love their parents. It's the children that are now not loving themselves. They rely on the only coping mechanism they have at their disposal, and that's called self-blame. Something's wrong with me. I'm unlovable. I make bad things happen. Well, self-blame can work for us in childhood, and we usually get over it, God willing. We all know it works against us in adulthood. These are core fears of so many adults. But really, these are the childhood stories that we tell and we wrote when we were alone, feeling alone, sitting in our room, crying from following stressful events. Adults with self-blame are vulnerable to depression, anxiety, and self-worthlessness. This is one of the reasons why I wrote the book, Never Feeling Loved Again. Because we all go through times when we have low self-esteem. And we have to know how to get out of it. We have to know how to make sure we protect our happiness. Because if we don't protect our happiness, no one's doing it for you. You don't have bodyguards hanging around you, making sure you're protecting with guns. When you're like a celebrity, you have bodyguards protecting you from physical harm. But there's no one going around with us protecting us from emotional harm. Those bodyguards aren't capable of doing that because they can bench press 400 pounds and they can shoot a gun, but they have no idea about psychology. And most psychologists aren't following you around. And you can't always rely, bless you, you can't always rely on your best friends or your parents. Because the reason why, because they're yes men. They're there, they love you and want the best for you, but they always say yes to you, anything you want, because they want what's good for what you think is good for you. You need someone to tell you the truth, which doesn't always feel good. That's why I told my students, I'm not here to be liked. I'm here to make you great. And sometimes that means making a hard choice. I was teaching last week at, were you there at Chabad last week? No. Anyone of you guys get a Chabad last week? Dave, you were there, right? Chabad last week? So I talked about, it's called a class called Dating AI. How to make sure your love isn't artificial. I gave it here. Yeah. I did. That was my practice class. It got better. I'll give it over in a few weeks. Because that's what I do. When I have a class, I give it over. It's fun. I'm very blessed to have this opportunity to teach, like every day, not every day, but most days. And and I get to try things out on you. This is a class you're hearing for the first time, right? So this is great. Oh, so I was talking about anger and relationships, and I mentioned that anger is like idol worship. It's like avodah zorah. And after the class, there was two women that came over to me, older women, probably not old, but older, probably in their 50s, probably divorced. And I'm like, why is anger avodah zorah? Anyone can tell me why is anger like idol worship? Go ahead, Chava.
You're putting the power to the one you're angry at instead of knowing it's from Hashem. So like
You're,
as if it's their own, like,
you're putting the power into the person that's making you angry, which is true, and you're taking away from Hashem. Another answer? Anger means you're losing control. And the only difference between humans and animals, the main two differences between humans and animals, is instinct and language. We have a much deeper language. We have deeper souls. Animals have souls, not the same level. Animals live on instinct, right? They live on instinct. When I feed my dog Mocha, and I feed her twice a day. You met my dog Mocha, right? She's a doll, she's a complete doll. And when I feed her dinner, and then let's say for some reason I have a pizza at the house, and I put a piece of pizza on the floor, Mocha just finished a meat dinner. She's not saying to herself, you know what, I'm play chicks, I really can't have that. You know, I'm a little bit fat. If I eat the pizza, I won't be able to jump in the bed. I can't fit through the doggy door. Mocha isn't thinking that. She's an animal. She lives on instinct. She sees the pizza, and she eats the pizza. Why? Because she's an animal. And when you get angry, you're not controlling your instincts. You're losing control. And you're saying, why is it like avodah zorah? That's one reason. The second reason is because you're saying, God, you made a mistake. And God does not make mistakes. The reason why this person's getting you upset, there's a reason for it. We don't know the reason. For you to learn from, for you to grow from. This is why relationships, like I say, when you're married, it's like a heart. And it splits in two. And half your soul goes into it's a zigzag. And their half goes out to someone else in the world. And your job is to find that person that's your besheret. And those two souls merge into one under the chuppah. But your job isn't to go to your husband and say, honey, you got to stop picking your underwear off the floor. And your job isn't to go to your wife and say, you got to stop burning the chicken. Your job is to accept them for who they are as a person. You hope they grow. You want them to grow. There's nuanced ways to get your husband to stop throwing his underwear on the floor. But it's not by yelling at him every day, because that's just criticism. As we learned in my classes, criticism destroys relationships. Because you want to compliment, don't criticize, or you'll get into a fight. Compliment, don't criticize, or she'll strike you with her right. Compliment, don't criticize, or she'll go on mikvah strike. Compliment, don't criticize. Then she'll say, not tonight. Compliment, don't criticize, or she'll dress like Betty White. Compliment, don't criticize, or he'll dress like Betty White. Compliment, don't criticize. Then he'll go for guys in tights. Compliment, don't criticize. Then you wish you lost that fight. Compliment, don't criticize. If you want some fun tonight, compliment, don't criticize. Get your love to greater heights. Thank you. I'll be at Caesars every Tuesday night. Okay, let's get back to the topic. When we can tell stories from our past that caused us distress, but now tell them in a safe environment, the story changes. And we change. With repair, we effectively change the past. And that is what a good therapy does. It's to repair. We want to repair all our past relationships. Self-repair means separating your identity from your behavior. My latest behavior does not define me. And I tell this to my kids all the time. If my kids do something wrong, Baruch Hashem, I have great kids. Thank God. But they make mistakes. I don't say you're a bad person. I go, you're a good person that made a mistake. That did something wrong. I don't make sure that when kids make a mistake, it defines them who they are as a person. My latest behavior does not define me. I was a good parent that was having a bad day. I was a good partner, but my anger got the best of me. I am not a bad person. I just did not have the proper tools to respond in a healthy way. And this is one of the reasons that we have so much dysfunction in the world today, is because we have parents who did not have the proper tools to raise us. And this is an issue. And this is why when you come from dysfunction in the family, you must forgive them, because they did the best with the tools that they have. And you're never going to move forward in life when you have anxiety and depression and low self-esteem because of something your parents did to you. I am sorry, it's time to move on. We are not going to fix the past. We're going to fix the future, and we're going to find ways to make you happy so you can live the rest of your life with emotional, what I call emotional serenity. We cannot we cannot fix the past. We can only change the future. And one way to fix the past is to forgive the source of our low self-esteem. If you do not forgive the source, you're going to be in constant pain the rest of your life. So you have to learn to say, I forgive you, and learn to say, I'm sorry. After you take responsibility for whatever you did wrong and repair, state what you do differently the next time. These are not repair. I'm sorry I yelled at you, but if you were more grateful, then I wouldn't get mad at you. I'm sorry I smacked you, but if you had listened to me the first time, this wouldn't have happened. These are insinuate that someone else caused your reaction, again, which is like living in instinct. Can you imagine a husband cocomes home from work, he says to his wife, honey, I'm so sorry, I have to apologize. I slept with my secretary. Oh, it's okay, honey, it's just your instincts. Does that make sense? Not at all, right? We have instincts, we're men. Our instincts are very, very strong. We have this desire to spread our seed. It's part of what God made us. That's why He made us, to spread our seed around. But we can control ourselves. This is why I talk about, like, Hashem, as you have parents that age, you'll notice that sometimes they lose their filter. Things that, any sort of idiosyncrasies they had in their 40s and 50s now comes right out in the open in their 70s and 80s or 80s and 90s. Like, this is what they call the dirty old man. Like, when an old man's walking by and he sees a woman and he pinched her tushy, right? He wanted to pinch her tushy 30 years earlier, but he can control himself. But now he lost I'm being honest, but he lost his filter, right? Everyone knows what tushy means? Yeah, right? I don't know if is that a common word in the non-Jewish world, tushy? For some reason, I don't think it is. The little kids? Yeah. In the non-Jewish, have you been in the non-Jewish world? I don't think they use the word tushy. Right, I think they use the word buttocks. In the buttocks, right? They pitch it, and they can't, because they can't control themselves. They lose their filter. But I'm being honest, it's true. And we've all experienced like hearing about dirty old men, like they walk in the park and they open their things like that, but they can't help themselves. Okay, let's go through 9 different ways to apologize. And by the way, these are what I wrote in my book, Emotional Vampires, available January 13th. I will have copies here very soon. I have a printer printing out 1,000 copies. If you, I give out my book, Sunscreen Love. I have copies here for you. They're free. I'm almost out of my book, Never Feeling Loved Again. I gave away 1,000 copies. I'm almost out of those, but this book will be free. I mean, that book's free. This book will be 50 shekels. You can Zelle or Bit or Cash, whatever. And if you do it early, if you do it with me before the book's even printed, I'll give you a handwritten note in the book. Because I'll sign the book anyway, but I won't put your name on it. This way I'll do a nicer. If I can do it at home when I have time, I can take a time and write a nice note. Anyway, so ready for the 9 different ways to apologize. Does anyone here understand like how to say I'm sorry? Like there's different ways. Like, give me an example.
Acknowledge your wrongdoing.
Okay, acknowledge your wrongdoing. Huh?
Make amends the next time so that you're doing something different the next time.
Sure, make sure, stop whatever you're doing that you have to say I'm sorry for sure.
Like I acknowledge the consequence, like, oh, I'm sorry I did that, and that made you feel this way.
Okay. So let's get into what I wrote in the book, and we'll see if we can add some more or if some of them don't make sense. Yes. Huh?
Did the brothers not say sorry to Yosef?
I don't think the brothers ever said I'm sorry to Yosef. That's why I said when I mentioned earlier in class, I don't remember seeing the word I'm sorry. The only time I saw I'm sorry, I never saw I'm sorry, but I said I forgive the Jewish people. God forgive the Jewish people. That was Yom Kippur. God forgives the Jewish people for the golden calf and doesn't destroy them because Moshe pleads. What are you going to do? Take them out of Egypt and kill them in the desert? Right? Again, so he has to convince them. I don't think I don't know if we said I'm sorry. I think that's what we do when Hashem knew, but God knew. Like, I think that's what we do with sorries.
There's different levels of forgiveness, and what I've heard from that story is like that was like the absolute lowest level. Like it's barely like a way to forgive someone.
We're gonna get into it. Let's get into the different ways of saying I'm sorry. What's that song? Is it Just Say It? Huh?
Justin Bieber?
No, it's like Lionel Richie or somebody. Just to say I'm sorry. I don't know. There's a song. I
I
can't,
called to say I love you, maybe.
is that what? I just called to say I love you. Who is that? That's
Stevie Wonder, not
Steve
mine.
Wonder. Yeah. He's an anti-Semite. We're not going to sing a song. Yeah. Yeah. The simple apology. I hope you guys recognize some of these, and we'll see if we can expand on this. Let me get my pen out because this is, again, sorry about that. This is a casual sorry for small inconveniences or social niceties, like bumping into someone when you're walking down the street or being slightly late. Oh, I'm sorry I'm late. It's a quick thing. It shows awareness, but not much emotional investment. It's the apology that a 6-year-old uses whose parents make them say sorry to a little sister for pouring a bucket of sand over their head. Sorry, right? There's not much emotional investment there. That's the simple apology. Then we have what's called the apology with justification. And we use that special word, I'm sorry, but. And anytime you use the word but, it means there's a justification for it. It means, at first, this may sound like an apology, but it fails short of being genuine. It often sidesteps true responsibility, especially when the other person feels hurt and is seeking real ownership. The word but signals a shift away from accountability, suggesting that the apology is conditional or that blame is being placed somewhere else. Instead of expressing sincere remorse, it becomes an attempt to excuse or minimize the harm caused. Yes?
Are we going to say I'm sorry with a justification that's still genuine?
I don't know.
I think there are circumstances where you do genuinely feel sorry because you see someone's hurt, so you do feel sorry. But simultaneously, maybe your heart also reveals.
So here's the thing.
Where you had a valid reason.
I think there might be justification, but maybe this is not the time to give it. Like I say, a lot of times, especially when you're married and dating, and you get emotional and you want to yell at someone or criticize someone. And I give the story all the time, but me putting the food on the blech in my Shabbos morning, right? That my wife didn't do it in the morning. I wanted to say something. I didn't say anything. I waited 4 or 5 days until it wasn't in the moment. And sometimes that justification has to come at a different time. And sometimes it's best to say, I'm sorry for hurting you. Please forgive me. And that's it. And then later on, you can give justification when they're not emotional.
What if it's not a one-way thing? Like, let's say you both hurt each other, you're both in an argument, and the only way to come to a conclusion or to see like what do we need to change is by both people saying their justification.
Right. So what I would do is I would
just say sorry, then maybe in the moment you fix the situation, but nothing's going to change.
No. So in a situation like this, I think you need time. Because once you're emotional, nothing good's going to happen. So I think when you walk away, sometimes it's always good. Like people say, oh, you should never go to bed angry. No, that's baloney. Go to bed angry. Go to bed angry and don't discuss the situation. Sleep on the couch if you have to. There's nothing wrong with it. Huh? Rambam says it? Yeah. So it's best to wait until you're not emotional and you can discuss things like regular adults. It's when you're emotional, nothing good happens. Thank God, this is something we learned as a parent, especially when you have kids. You cannot negotiate when they're going through turmoil or stress. Well, I had a situation this week in my family. I'm not going to go over it because I want to tell, I don't want to say anything, but you have to wait till they calm down. Yes?
Maybe then you have to wait to say sorry. First, repair what's going on.
You might have to wait. You might have to wait. You might have to say, you might have to apologize twice. Say, I'm sorry. We're not going to talk about this now because you're emotional, but I'm going to apologize again later, and we'll talk more about it later. And just let them know that you want this repair. I want to repair this relationship.
It's a separate thing, I'm just saying, discussing what damage went on, everyone taking responsibility for their son, explaining what they didn't mean to do something like it, right?
Yeah. A lot of times in this situation, the problem has come from one simple thing. Defining your terms. Defining your terms is so important. I was walking to the old city just now, and there was a woman, and she was selling these bracelets that said peace on them. I was in a hurry, so I didn't want to talk about it. But what does it mean, word peace? We talk about peace in the Middle East, right? I don't know about you, but who doesn't want peace? The problem we have is that we have different definitions of the word peace. For me, the word peace means I can walk through Jaffa Gate without having to worry about getting stabbed. And for the non-Jew, the definition of peace, especially the Palestinian, is dead Jews drowning in the Mediterranean River or being killed behind a tree. That's their definition of peace. They don't want us here. So if we can't have common definitions of the word peace, there's never going to be an agreement. And we can't, like, I don't understand why we can't have this clarity, right? What do you want? And they don't state, because they're embarrassed to state that they want us not to be here. They want us to be dead. And so because of that, we can't come to agreement for anything. You disagree with me?
Some of them say it outright.
Some of them do say outright, for sure.
It wasn't
Yeah, no, they're tiptoeing around it. It's just the truth. The third way to say I'm sorry I upset you. This level it's called the partial apology. This level recognizes the emotional impact, but may not fully admit fault or show understanding of what went wrong. In this version, the person apologizing doesn't really mean they are sorry, only they are sorry that what they did may have hurt the other person. In their mind, they may be completely innocent. I'm sorry I hurt you. Well, you deserved it. In your mind, that's what thing in the mind. You deserved it. I'm sorry I hurt you. No, you're not really. I'm sorry that you feel bad or I hurt you, but I'm not sorry I did for you. It's a partial apology. And then we have the avoiding conflict apology. Sometimes a person will say, I'm sorry, just to avoid conflict, even when they believe they've done nothing wrong. This dynamic often shows up in a marriage where one spouse apologizes simply to keep the peace. Used occasionally and with some wisdom, this kind of apology can help de-escalate tension and maintain harmony. However, when it becomes a pattern where one partner is constantly apologizing just to avoid anger or to keep the calm, it's no longer healthy. In fact, it may be a red flag for emotional manipulation or even abuse. In a balanced relationship, a balanced, healthy relationship, both partners should feel safe expressing their perspective without fear of emotional fallout. Avoiding conflict. And you'll see this in marriages where there's generally abuse and narcissism. And you'll have I'm not going to say a wife or what, I use the wife because I'm a guy. And, she'll say, I'm sorry, just to keep the peace. And it's okay sometimes to say I'm sorry, even though you know you're right. I have a chapter in my book, Sunscreen Love. It's called Sometimes You Have to Be Wrong to Be Right. Right? Because what's the most important thing in a relationship? Shalom bayit, peace in the home. And sometimes, because you can fight with your spouse, and you know you're right, and you fight with them, and guess what? They finally give in and admit that you're right. Did you win? You might have won the battle, but you're going to lose the war. And the war is a passionate, loving relationship, which I want to save and keep for everybody. So you have to understand that this apology is just to avoid conflict. And then you have the instant apology, one where you're speaking and immediately realize you said something wrong. Like sometimes I do this, oh, I'm sorry, I should have said that, before the other person can even show their negative emotions. This is usually done during an argument with a close loved one. You say something to me, like, well, you're fat. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Like, it's just an instant apology. There's not much emotional involvement here, right? Because you said it and you caught yourself immediately, which is fine. And that's better than nothing. Better than say something. Obviously, this is what you should say, but you should think before you speak. Because even though you said something like, I hate you, or I want a divorce. By the way, my wife said to me when we first got married, we weren't religious when we got married. She said, be careful what you say to me. Like, what do you mean? She goes, because when you say those words, hate or divorce, those words are floating out there. And even though you may apologize and take them back later, it's still floating out there. This is why a good attorney, when he's in a case with another attorney in court, and he'll say something knowing it's going to be stricken from the judge, but it doesn't matter. Once those words are said, they're still out there. Right? Delete from the record, yeah. What's the jury going to like? Delete, there's no delete button, right? I like what I said the other day, that if you're not careful when you're dating online, you might meet a guy at Starbucks, and it could end up being a MacBook Air computer. I said they're great because they're reliable and slim, unlike most men. But I said the great thing is they have a power button. You can turn them on. Like, bzz, I go, I wish I had a power button. Bzz, turn me on, right? We don't have that. The problem is, of course, that relationship isn't going to last when you have to recharge them every 3 hours, right? So anyway, I love that. That was my dating AI class that I gave recently. The apology to get food, sex, or money. These are apologies with strings attached. When someone says, I'm sorry, primarily because they want something from you. While an apology might be sincere, it's often clouded by the fact they stand to gain from your forgiveness. This creates a lingering doubt. Are they truly remorseful or just trying to get what they want? When an apology is motivated by self-interest, it can still be valid, but it's rather harder. It's harder to trust because they want something from you. Just like when guys and girls are dating in the secular world, and you guys probably don't know this, but this is a common theme when like they're about to sleep together or something, right? They're getting very physical, and the girl goes, "Well, do you love me?" I mean, what's a guy going to say at that point in time? No way, I love you so much, because he's going to get sex. So he's going to say what he has to say to get sex. He's in a situation where he wants it, right? It's again, that is getting something for saying I love you. It's meaningless, obviously, right? I said again, that's true. It's a true story, right? Okay, then you have the fake apology while taking responsibility. I'm sorry I said that. What I said hurt you, and I did not mean to do that. Although in your apology, you said you didn't mean to do it, in reality, you did mean to do it, and hurt the other person. So sometimes we do that. We say something, and we still meant to do it. We do it again. But then there's a real apology while taking responsibility. I'm sorry I said that. What I said hurt you, and I did not mean to do that. In this instance, the person is admitting guilt and telling them they were acting on emotions, and it was not their true feelings. Here, the person taking real responsibility and expressing empathy. This apology and the one above are the same. It takes reading someone's facial expressions to know if it's a real apology or a fake one. And the last way to say I'm sorry is the full apology with responsibility and empathy. I deeply regret what I did. I was wrong, and I hurt you. You didn't deserve that, and I want to correct it. I want to repair the fissure. I want to repair this relationship. This is the most important thing. You want someone to want to repair the relationship. And we're getting to this when we get into forgiveness, how to actually forgive somebody. This is the most sincere level. It includes vulnerability, remorse, emotional connection, and often the desire to change or make amends. And vulnerability is one of the key issues in relationships. You want to meet a guy or girl that has vulnerability, that is open up. Again, when we come from dysfunctional background, we have internal injuries. We put a wall up. We put a wall up, and we have a hard time. And by the way, this is the issue. You might not notice in your early 20s. You get married at 23, 24. You come from a divorced background. Your parents are divorced, and there's emotional pain that never got healed. 10, 15 years later, that is going to come to bite you in the back. It's going to come bite you in the butt, whatever you get bit, right? Tushy. You get bit in the tushy. The reason why is because you never repaired that emotional pain. And this is why if you want your kids to have a fabulous marriage, you must show them what a fabulous marriage is. They have to have something to emulate, which I teach you all the time. I teach you. I teach you. I teach you what love is. I teach you what marriage is, the definitions, the feelings. What love is to a man, what love is to a man, to a woman. Man, whatever you want. I'm not judging you. You do whatever you want. I mean, I'm not getting in that game. I was attending a singles dinner recently. This is the stories in the book. And there was a friend of mine, and she was supposed to go with this guy, and the date never happened. And she's at this dinner. I think the guy recognized her, and she recognized him. And he's being really mean to her, like really rude. And after the dinner, her friends who were trying to set her up goes, "You want to go out with me?" No, he goes, "A jerk." She goes, "He's really drunk. He's really drunk. That's not who he really was." And she asked my opinion. What do you think? Goes, "Coach, what do you think about me going with this guy who is really treating me very badly?" I said to her, "Alcoholics are notorious for apologizing for behavior after the damage has been done." And I said, "Usually when the liquor flows, the truth goes." Was that the saying? The truth comes out and liquor comes away. There's a saying. I haven't written it. Is that what it is?
I mean, yours rhyme better if that's
When the liquor flows, the truth shows.
Yeah.
Alcohol doesn't hide character, it reveals it, right? And that's, by the way, I don't really drink that much anymore, but if you come to my house on Friday nights, I used to drink scotch after dinner sometimes. Occasionally I get a nice buzz and going on. I'm so much fun. I'm a lot of fun. And you're just singing and doing funny stuff. Like not stupid, but fun. Like really, like my creativity goes off the charts. I'd like to get drunk again. It's fun getting drunk. but it's not good for my heart. It's actually alcohol is very bad for you. Don't drink. You know.
Maybe the fun is good, it's healthy also. So you drink and it's fun. You come out eating.
I think when you're younger, you can get away with it. But as you get older, as you know, Rabbi, like, you know, I turned 60 in June. It just starts to really take a toll, and you just cannot. It's hard to handle. It's also the booze. It also affects my heart.
After the fact?
Yeah, usually a day later. But like on Friday night, I literally had like, I went to my house Friday night. No, I like this much scotch and some ice. I just love. I love like good Dalvini. Like it smells so good. So I had a little bit, and then like I went to bed, and like next thing you know, my heart's going literally for like 20 seconds. It was very cracked. Yeah, I have atrial fibrillation. So, yeah. But I've been really good since I've gone off alcohol. It's been, Friday night
It's
a few times.
Like if you have a little.
It's not good for me. It's so bad for me that I haven't had problems. I've been like almost a year now without atrial fibrillation issues because I stopped drinking.
If God gave you a ring, why would you want to use alcohol to start confusing yourself and getting yourself out of your mind? I'm not saying it's because of your pain, yeah, alcohol makes sense, but really, if you think into it.
I always talked about how, like, when I was in college, I did a paper on this, that, like, when guys would drink alcohol, they get into fights and they're drinking and driving, killing people. Like, but when guys smoke pot, I'm just talking college. I mean, I wasn't around hanging around girls. You know what they do all day? They sit around and eat a bag of potato chips. And they're not getting into fights, and they're not drinking and driving. I'm not saying, but it's ridiculous that alcohol can go anywhere. And now, of course, things have changed now. Now pot's legal a lot of places, which I think was ridiculous before that was illegal and this is legal. Alcohol should be illegal and pot should be legal. That's what I think. But I'm not, you know, just.
Both should be legal.
What?
Yeah.
I vote for two is better than one. How about both should be legal?
Well, the problem is that dangerous things happen from alcohol. I think alcohol is more. Listen, I'm not a doctor, but I think it might be. Now, people say, "Well, pot's a gateway drug." Maybe it is. I don't know.
You can't drive on Shabbos. So if you
Oh, you're right. You're right.
protected from a lot of the dangers as long as
Yeah.
you're religious.
Right. That should be the rule. You only drink on Shabbos.
You might drive your wife into the
Yeah. Well, if you're a good drunk, it's okay. But if you're a bad drunk, it's. Have you seen bad drunks before? They're mean. They get into fights all the time. They're the same guys that got in college. The same guys that got in fights all the time, right? They can't get. It's horrible. Who here wants to marry a drunk? I don't see any hands up, right? Wants to marry a drunk? No one's a married alcoholic.
Yeah, but we're all addicted technically. We all have our addictions, right? Covering our pain. Every single person has.
Right, that's right, but you're not an animal. You can control your instincts. That's our job. Our job is to complete ourselves as a person. That's why when God brought Tov and Ra down to the world, as Rabbi Dubov says, it's not good and bad. It's complete and incomplete, and our job is to finish ourselves. Right? And we can control our instincts.
I'm not saying that you should marry somebody who's still struggling with that, or I'm not saying yes or no, whatever. I'm just saying that we all have that struggle with us. That's it.
We all have that what?
The struggle with addiction. No. You don't realize someone's approval is an addiction.
Oh, for sure. No, this is a whole issue in the world with low self-esteem. We're looking for approval of other people. And that's what I talked about. I said the greatest transformation about taking control of your happiness is having internal satisfaction without the need with external validation. And we're looking for external validation. Like when we go out, like I said, would you buy a BMW if you knew no one was you to drive it? Would you buy a $3,000 Armani suit or a $10,000 Louis Vuitton purse if you knew no one was going to see you carry them around? And if you say, yes, I'd still buy it, you're lying. Just like guys who go to the gym and lift weights. Would you continue to lift weights if you get stronger, but your muscle mass would not change and your tone would stay exactly the same? Would you go to a gym? No, you wouldn't. Sorry. No, you wouldn't.
I'm in the worst mood.
Yeah.
Like really. Like it's like
But you can see a change in your muscle mass. You can see your arms get tighter, your muscles get bigger.
We don't care for that. We don't care.
What if there was a woman on an island?
It's like for me, it's the mental feel good. It's like
I agree. I run for my mental health, right? I run for mental health.
What did you say?
Yeah. I don't think as much.
Would a woman on an
I
island
don't think
still
so
put on
because
makeup?
running. What?
Would a woman on an island still put on makeup if she was alone on the island?
That's a good question.
Yes.
What?
If there was a mirror.
Yes.
No. This could be the
If there was a
And I want to say something very important to the women out here.
No, but I think someone would work out if they were on the island alone. It's good for your mental state. It makes you feel productive.
Well, if you're on an island, you're working out. No,
A person could want to feel good for themselves. Doesn't matter who the effort is.
if you're on an
That's material thing.
It gives you control.
if you're on an island by yourself, you're working out all day just to survive. You don't like guys who work in construction aren't going to the gym at night. Go, oh, today's legs day. They want to go home and rest. If you're chopping wood, you're chopping wood all day.
You're finding a way to find that satisfaction that let's say somebody who doesn't have a physical job. That's why they take it on after that. It's so they can tie themselves out physically and feel good about that aspect outside of necessarily muscle.
Do you think gyms existed 150 years ago?
Lifestyle.
Lifestyle, just surviving on an island with a gym. Having to chop the wood, having to get the water and boil the water and go fishing and kill the animals. That was your job as lifting weights. So nowadays, if you want dinner, you call Wolt and you deliver a hamburger to your door, right?
And then you go to the gym after that.
And you go because you're not doing anything anymore. So you have to go to the gym for your emotional health and physical health. And you should work out. I'm into working out. I think you should work out. But I'm telling you, if you went to the gym and you saw no change in your muscle mass and no change in your firmness or your weight, would you still go and lift weights? You'd probably say no, right? And we don't need the muscles anymore. It's not like you're walking down the street and some lady's gonna drop her purse. Like, ma'am, I got your purse. I banked $350 today. Like, I did 10 steps. Like, what are you talking about? She can say, okay, carry my six bags, 3 blocks, right? So I ask you to do that. We don't need the muscles anymore. We're not fighting saber-tooth tigers. We have guns and we have lasers now, Because we invented lasers and we invented the weather. We controlled the weather, right? We invented these things. My point is, you don't need those muscle mass anymore. It's all from getting attention. Like you said before, we're addicted to attention from other people, and it makes us feel good. And for women, you feel validated, and for men, we feel respected when we get attention from a woman. And we like it. We all like it. And it feels good. But when you start to have internal happiness without the need for external validation, you will live a life of happiness without the need for Louis Vuitton purses, and without the need for going to the gym for 10 hours a day. Go for half an hour a day. You don't need 10 hours a day, right? And when finally we're happy and love ourselves, that's when we're going to attract someone to love us. I am not a matchmaker. I'm a mate maker. I want to make you into a person that other people that want to love. And that's why I give a class called From Swipe Right to Wedding Night, How to Make Yourself Irresistibly Marriageable. Because you have no idea what you're doing. No offense. Maybe some of you do. But most of us don't. 3 levels of forgiveness. When saying I'm fine is just emotional duct tape. If your favorite hobby is collecting every injustice ever done to you, I've got a better suggestion. It's not collecting Taylor Swift friendship bracelets. It's try collecting coins. It's been shown to, now I'm just pushing this plug because I'm a rare coin dealer. I don't sell coins to you guys. I sell them to big dealers. You're a coin collector? Oh, no way. That's what I do for a living. Yeah. It's actually a very exciting week this week because there's a major auction in New York on Tuesday, December 9th, and they're selling an 1804 silver dollar. It's a newly discovered coin, probably the finest one. It's already bid today, and the auction's not even off yet. It's already bid $5.4 million. And I'm actually bidding on 6 coins in that auction. It's only like 54 coins. I'm bidding on 6 coins. Whatever sells for. Whatever people are willing to pay for. It's whatever. It's an auction. It's material. What its value is. It's whatever person pays for it.
Is it a quarter? Is it a dollar?
It's a silver dollar. Oh, it's a silver dollar.
Silver dollar.
It was struck for. It's a whole long story. I'm not going to get into
It's
it.
like art. They turn coins. It's like art.
Yeah, coins are great.
Did you tell the drunk guy?
Huh?
Did you tell her?
Oh, the story guy. So I told her. I said, if this is how he acts when he's drunk, you don't want to marry a guy. This is his true intent. I go, this is how he's going to be. I go, you can't.
You got drunk on a date? Did she
No, it was a Shabbos dinner.
Oh.
It was like a Shabbos dinner. He was mean to her.
God actually saved her.
So what?
Shit got happened, and she got to see the real.
Oh, I have to read to you what I wrote. Alcohol. Sorry, I only have a minute left. Alcohol doesn't hide character; it reveals it. If that's who he becomes with a drink in his hand, then that's someone you probably don't want holding your hand. Boom, baby! Boom! Another one-liner. I call my zingers. I'm making so many zingers right now. It's unbelievable. It's just like I'm all into zingers.
I would say go out with a bang, but you could make another bang. You got like 50 bangs today. So.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so you don't want to collect. People collect injustices. They always say These are people who are the, what do you call it, justice collectors, right? They're always playing the blame game of somebody else and never take responsibility for their life, right? And they'll drain, they're emotional vampires. They drain you of energy. So we're going to talk about 3 ways. This is from Rambam's Moshe's Ben Maimon, we call it Maimonides, in his Laws of Repentance, that forgiveness operates on 3 distinct levels. Number 1, external forgiveness. This is forgiving the action but not the sinner. When one person wrongs another, the victim may forgive the offense but not the offender. In doing so, they often cling to a hidden grudge, which will fuel inner turmoil. Holding on to a grudge doesn't punish anyone except the heart of the one who harbors it. True peace comes from not partial forgiveness, but from releasing the person entirely. If you want to live a life full of emotional serenity, offer full forgiveness to the one who committed it. And it's not so easy. I know it's not, especially when you were raised in a family with dysfunction. I agree. It takes a long time and a lot of therapy, maybe some coaching, maybe some reading my books. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist. But really having people who are empathetic and who you can talk to. And this is why you need someone to talk to who can listen to you. This is one of the most important things. When I coach people all the time, I do because I enjoy it. I don't do it for a living. I do it because I like it, but I'm not a therapist. I don't want to sit here for an hour and listen to you because I don't want to go home and have to like take a shower. I want to solve your problem. Tell me, is there a question you want me to answer or a problem you want me to solve? And I get right into it. There's a whole backstory. I'm sure everyone has a backstory to their problems. Everyone does. But that's not going to solve your problem. Changing the future is going to solve your problem. Controlling your instincts is going to solve your problem. Controlling your emotional state, forgiving the source. Finding something in your life that's going to bring you light. Something that's going to bring you joy in your life that can get your mind up. Just like if you've ever been dating or dating, and a guy broke up with you, especially if you've been dating for a few years because you have no idea what you're doing. If you're dating for marriage, you don't date a guy for 3 years, no offense. In fact, the world, they do this all the time. You meet a guy, right? You meet a cute guy. He's always nice. You have fun. You get into a physical relationship, confused infatuation with love. Next thing you know, you meet him at 23. You're dating toward 29, and he breaks up with you. You're like, what happened? What happened? What are you dating for? I was dating for marriage. Well, why did you get married? I don't know. We'll see what has going on. I wasn't ready yet. Guess what happened? You wasted the best years of your life. And this is why I have that acronym, DO, dating, engagement, and wedding. You have to have a timeline. What time is it? You have to have a timeline on how long you're going to date a guy. If you're dating for marriage and you're not going to wait the more religious you are, it might be 1 day. If you're not religious, it might be 6 months, whatever, 2 years, whatever it's going to be. You have to have a timeline. You don't have to waste your life because you don't have clarity in what you're doing. Clarify why you're dating and hold by it. Number 2, so that's external forgiveness. Number 2, internal forgiveness. Forgiving the action and partially the sinner. A higher level of forgiveness is to forgive not just the act of the sin, but also the guilty person, even though there may remain a trace of dislike for the person. There's still some healing to do, even if the pain hasn't fully disappeared. Hopefully, you'll get someday to full reconciliation, right? This is like when a friend does something to you, and you apologize and you forgive them. I forgive you. There's still that internal thing going on, like still something going on. It's not fully there. And this is we're going to hold. You have to wait a second. Your questions. I'm going to finish. And this one gets to number 3, full reconciliation. This is the highest and most complete form of forgiveness. This level is an emotion so strong that it makes it as if the act never occurred at all. This is the kind of forgiveness that matters most in a romantic relationship. At this level, the relationship is not only restored, but strengthened. It transforms itself into greater connection with the person you forgave. And this is what they say. Sometimes they say that makeup sex is the best sex because you've now strengthened the relationship. You guys never heard that? Okay, maybe I've heard it, but it's true, right? In Jewish law, a person is only obligated to ask forgiveness 3 times. After 3 refusals, the person is no longer held accountable for that action, as they have proven their true regret. At that point, the burden shifts. The one who refuses to forgive is now considered to be bearing a grudge. If it's a real apology, yes. There's a lot more to this. 3 real ones, right? It has to be real, not one of these fake ones.